years old and pregnant and I haven't told my parents. I'm actually 5 months along. What should I do? My parents are extremely strict. If you think your parents are strict, you haven't met mine. From the time I was a kid, I was never allowed to go to sleepovers or even go to friends' houses. All my friends had to come over to my house. Luckily, my parents are pretty cool and I do have fun with them. But I quickly started resenting them. Here's the reason I think they're super strict. My mom actually ended up getting pregnant from my dad when she was 16. So they were super young. And of course, they didn't want the same thing to happen to me. I guess I kind of understood why they were strict. When I was 13, I decided I would start sneaking out to go to parties. All of my friends had parties and I was the only one that was never allowed to go. So I actually got pretty good at sneaking out. I convinced my parents that I would go to bed early, then I would have a backpack ready and I would just sneak out the window. Luckily, I'm on the first floor. Part 2 is up. I'm 16 and pregnant and I haven't told my parents. What should I do? I got really good at sneaking out of the house to go to parties. Eventually, I started sneaking out almost 3 times a week. Anytime anyone was having a get-together, or a party, or when I was asked out by a boy. My parents had a strict rule that I could not date any boys, especially spend any time alone with them. But this boy at school that I really liked asked me out. Apparently, my friends made sure to tell him that I liked him and then he said that he liked me. So there was no way I was going to pass up on the chance to just hang out with him. I was 15 and I had never been kissed. So I snuck out of the house just like I did every other time. We actually met at a park and just talked for like 2 hours. Then he walked me home and everything was pretty innocent. I even thought about telling my parents, but I decided not to. But this boy quickly started pressuring me into doing things that I wasn't ready to do. It's not like I was sneaking out with the intention to do anything. I just wanted to have fun. But he started asking me to wear different clothes, and I did. He even asked me to get a belly button piercing. Part 3 is up. 16 and pregnant, and I still haven't told my parents. And I'm also 5 months along. That's when this boy started pressuring me into get a belly button piercing. I started changing the way that I dressed. Then he started pressuring me into doing things like kissing and touching. At this point, I was still sneaking out of the house almost every single night to see him. That's when he started pressuring me into going to his house instead of the park. And I said yes because I didn't want him to break up with me. When I told him I didn't want to go all the way, he told me that there were plenty of girls in school that would happily take my place. So we went all the way. At this point, I was 15 and I had just gotten my period. By the way, I didn't even tell my mom about my period because I thought they would freak. After 2 months passed, I didn't get my period. And I thought that was normal. I had literally no idea about periods. Then another 2 months passed and no period. And that's when I started feeling really sick. And I thought, well, I might as well go get a test. And it was positive. When I told the boy, he broke up with me and told me that I probably did it with somebody else. I feel like I can hide the whole pregnancy because I'm pretty skinny. My mom's asking me why I'm wearing big clothes. My parents will literally kill me. What should I do?
Am I wrong for requesting that my brother give me $20,000 to help me pay for my wedding since he makes a lot more money than me? I, 23 female, am engaged to my fiance, 27 male. I am also the mother to my daughter, 4. I wasn't able to go to university full-time since I was raising my daughter. However, I am currently studying history online where I will hopefully be able to become a history teacher. Balancing studying while raising my daughter hasn't been easy. However, having my fiance supporting the family has really helped since my fiance works in a research lab. We have enough money to live comfortably, but saving up money to have our dream wedding would take years. Then you don't get to have it or wait that long. You don't get to ask other people for their money. That's why dream weddings are called the dream. My brother, 28 male, works as a hospital doctor. His wife also works as a hospital doctor, so to say they are well off would be an understatement. My brother hasn't had the same struggles of raising a child since they both don't want any children. I don't mind the fact that they both don't have any kids, but they have been able to save a lot of money due to this. Recently, I asked my brother if he would be able to help pay for my wedding, since having him contribute to my wedding would help make it a magical moment for me. My brother offered to give me $5,000 towards my wedding, which honestly surprised me. I might be wrong here, but surely as a hospital doctor, my brother should be able to contribute more to my wedding. I told him that I'd really appreciate it if he could give me $20,000 for my wedding, since it would really mean a lot, but he refused. Oh my god, some people have no shame. I swear, how can you ask? Oh my god. I'd be lying if I said I didn't make my annoyance with my brother clear, and I told him that his refusal to help pay for my wedding is selfish, and that if he doesn't help contribute to my wedding, then he won't be able to come, since it isn't my fault that I don't have a lot of money to fund my wedding. We had an argument afterwards, and I haven't been returning his calls since. The rest of my family is helping to contribute to my wedding, which makes his refusal even worse. Despite my brother's actions, my father thinks that I'm being way too harsh on my brother, and that me not inviting him to my wedding would be upsetting for him. Am I missing something here?
Back in 2018, I got really sad, and I did not brush or wash my hair for a long time, and so what happened was I got a rat's nest, as my mother would call it, on the back of my head, and I hid it by putting my hair back in a ponytail, and I would back comb my hair, and it was this big poofy ponytail, and people would say, wow, your ponytail's so pretty, you should do a hair tutorial. I'm about to fart. That was so loud. People were like, you should do hair tutorials to show people how you get your hair that big. My hair was a matted mess. Finally, I was like, enough is enough. I took a whole weekend and I took oils and I tried so hard to work out the nasty, like, giant mat on the back of my head. Obviously, I made it worse by backcombing my hair. I know that. So I spent 3 days. I took a sick day off work. I, like, tried to fix it, couldn't fix it. I called the salon, and I was like, this is really embarrassing. I think I'm going to shave all my hair off my head. Like, I think that's what I have to do because I have a giant mat on the back of my head and I can't get it out. And the girl who answered the phone was like, oh, well, did you know that the owner of the salon specializes in dreadlocks? And I was like, well, that's not really what I'm looking for. And she said, no, he's great with knots, basically is what I'm saying. So I don't think we're going to have to shave your hair off. I think he's going to be able to take a look at it and take out the knots for you. So she set up a consultation. I met with a man named James. He was very, very nice. And he was like, absolutely, I can do this for you. I said, what are you going to charge me? And he was like, 120. Sound good to you? And I was like, yeah, thank you so much. The next day, we met at his salon at 5 p.m. He told me we would be done by 8 p.m. We were not. It was 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. He was like, can you come back tomorrow? And I said, I can't because I'm going to Denver, but I can come back next week. And he said, oh no, honey, I'm not sending you to Denver not feeling good about your hair. And also, it's just going to remat. And his wife came in around 11 o'clock and she was like, do you guys want some ice cream or Mexican food or something? And we were like, yeah, that'd be great. Then she left. Everything was closed. And so she just went home and went to bed. And James and I stayed at the salon till 2 a.m. 2 a.m. 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. is how long the saint stayed with me. And we just talked about our lives. He didn't make me feel bad about my hair at all. He was just like, this could have happened to anybody. I totally understand why you backcombed your hair. I bet it looked great. And obviously, once we were done, I was so, so grateful. And I said, what do I owe you? And he said, 120. We already decided. And I was like, come on, you stayed with me till 2 a.m. You saved me. What do I owe you? And he said, 120. I'm not going to upcharge you after I quoted you 120. So I tacked on as big of a tip as I could and I left. And to this day, it's the greatest act of love that I've ever received from a stranger in my life.
I got into the wrong Uber car and it completely changed my life. I was leaving the club and could barely see straight, so you know what kind of night I was having. And after getting the notification that my Uber was there, I got in the nearest Uber. It wasn't until I got home that I realized he never even asked me my name to confirm who I was. He didn't care. He didn't even confirm my address. So I noticed every single turn he takes is completely wrong and I worry that I'm being taken. But every time I corrected him, he apologized and made the right turn. Plus, he was like at least 75. So I kind of felt bad for him. So after I pull up to my house, I tap him on the shoulder to say thank you. And he turns around and he says, no problem, dear. And he has no eyeballs. He was completely blind. I literally started screaming at the top of my lungs trying to get out of the car. He says, don't be afraid. This happened to me 50 years ago when I was in the army. He says this is the only job he could ever get to make enough money to visit his granddaughter. A job where he's not obligated to look at people. I gave him all of my savings so he didn't have to Uber anymore. And he could visit his family anytime he wanted.